So before we came to the school, we were like most other seed stock producers. We were calving in February. We were winning them bulls, calves in October, maybe November, but primarily October. At that point, then we'd put those bulls on feed and kind of have to push them along to get them where we could sell them as yearling bulls through the winter, February, March. So our production practices were calving early, turn the cattle out in the summertime on grass, and feeding a lot of hay through the winter, calving and working hard all through the winter and during calving season, and then also keeping feeding, trying to get cows bred early enough to keep that cycle going.
And not being profitable. This is about our third year calving in May. From a personal perspective, it's a lot less stress on our lives because we can go out and go through the cows and see which ones have calved, and we do tag and get a birth weight, but we don't check at night unless it's an extreme event in May, which is unlikely, and it's actually enjoyable to go out and be calving, or calving. The cows are calving, we're not calving. So it's just reduced the stress in our lives, and I think calving later, whether you're commercial or seed stock, it just makes sense from a people perspective, financial, and from a cow perspective too. I mean, it doesn't really seem fair to cows to put them in that situation to calve in the middle of winter.
Yeah, one thing another benefit of calving later is that our cow herd now is only entering the third trimester back up from 3 months from the 1st of May. And so we really we're on our way to longer days and a warming trend, at least shortly into the third trimester typically, which has been able to take a lot of pressure off the cow herd and their nutritional needs through the shortest days of the year.
And for the amount of hay that they get fed, we're usually able to stockpile forage and not feed hay, beyond supplementation for protein, unless we have a lot of snow on the ground, which is unusual for us, but it usually blows away.
Well, and everybody, the last 2 winters have been pretty severe winters, and I think that's known in Montana, in south central Montana. So last winter we fed just under 1,000 pounds of hay per cow, and this year we'll be right at 1,000 pounds. So a half a ton a year looks like it's going to get us through what is considered a pretty serious winter. We were fortunate because we'd been warned that we would have other issues with calving in May on green grass. Fortunately, with our double-bred emulation bloodlines, we had very little of that, if any, maybe 2 cows. On the other hand, the breed up wasn't a big deal. I would say 10% fell out, and we're plumb willing to let 10% of them fall out for that. But the one thing that we probably didn't anticipate was when you combine that with dry season, because you're breeding now at the end of July, early August. So given the season, and depending on the year's conditions, I think, it's probably should be prepared to do some sort of supplementation for protein if you experience that really dry year. So you need to observe that and anticipate it.
I think we definitely have a target market audience, and honestly a lot of them have been to Ranching for Profit school, and they've had the paradigm shift to think differently about how they're raising their cattle. So a lot of our customers do calve in May or even later, and they're not looking for the most production, they're looking for the lowest cost, and they don't want bulls that are going to fall out. They're not overfed, fat, and they're going to get the job done without, being a headache for them. So what we're really selling is confidence in our program and giving our customers freedom to do the things they want to and not have to babysit their cattle.
One of the other things along that is, it turns out, which I think we might have recognized to some degree, but a coming 2-year-old bull is a much better product to sell. It's a much better commodity to offer to a commercial person because of how much more value there is in that bull. It can go breed cows without any special care. So I think our customers really appreciate that.
So in looking at our operation, we wanted to come up with a way to increase turnover, because I think we've cut our direct costs substantially. So to do that, our bulls, we sell them as 18-month-old, so when they're yearlings, we lease them out, or a portion of them out, and then bring them home. They are quarantined for 30 days, go through a slate of tests to make sure that they don't have any diseases or anything, and then they're sold in our sale in December.